So good afternoon, one all.
Yeah, in home now.
Am I audible to you? Okay. So good afternoon once again. We are here to brief about the IIT Bhilai Innovation and Technology Foundation, about the schemes, about IBITF. Hello. Yeah. So IBITF, it is basically a Section 8 company. It is mandate from NMICBS, that is National Mission on Interdisciplinary Cyber Physical Systems, funded by Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Education from New Delhi. And we have different types of schemes for students, for faculty members, for industry partners who can give their ideas, and we are here to provide the support regarding the academia from finances, from funds, and from any kind of expertise you want. So you can just submit your proposals in the various streams. You can just go through this website, that is www.ibitf.co.in, and we are basically working on financial technology domain. In all over India, 25 technology innovation hubs have been established by DST, by Department of Science and Technologies, and they are working in different areas. So we are focusing on 4 different areas, that is blockchain, AI, artificial intelligence, e-payments, then machine learning, IoTs. These are our basic domains. Other than this, you can also submit proposals in whatever idea you have in your minds. Okay. So starting with our schemes. This is the first proposal, first tag you are seeing, that is a special call for proposals, that is for especially for scheduled tribes community. It is under the tribal area subplan. Alignment is the thematic areas has been mentioned, which I have also previously mentioned, that is AIML, IoT, blockchain, and e-payments. Our objective is to sustainable livelihoods and employment opportunities through fintech interventions, and you can apply in different types of sectors, in healthcare, in agriculture, energy, transport, education. You can just go through this website and read this proposal, and patiently you can just think what you can explore and what you want to be, you can be in which part of this particular sectors. Next, our next goal is empowering ST communities through training capacity building. This is our next aim by this particular proposals. Then educational institutes can participate. Educational institutes can participate. Faculty members can be the PI, co-PI for this. And one thing which has been mandated by DST for this particular scheme, that PI should be from the ST community. PI and co-PI maybe. PI is must. So these are the guidelines who can apply. So as per this tribal area subplan, any such expenditures by IBITF should be booked under either of these cases. This is the particular mandate which has been provided by DST. But you can just go through and make these proposals and submit to us. We will help you. Internal organizations will also help. So this is all about the ST scheme. Next scheme is about the technology business incubator schemes. So this particular scheme is based on the innovation and entrepreneurship play, in this particular scheme, it play a vital role in developing a vibrant ecosystems to support business ventures. And this will provide incubators. This we have different academia partners, government institutions are there, and startups incubated with academia institutions and startup innovations hub. They can just apply this in this particular scheme. Thematic areas are same, but we have provided different areas, elaborated this particular area also, so that they can apply. We have some problem statements are also mentioned in different various sectors. Like we are funding about 13 technology business incubator schemes currently right now, and we have achieved so many different types of achievements in also this. Recently, this in agriculture domain, we have funded a project to Indira Gandhi Krishi Vishwavidyalaya in Raipur, and it has been funded 90 crores about, and it has been awarded by National E-Governance Gold Award by Union Ministry currently. Yeah? 90 lakhs, sorry. sorry. But it is not like that. We have funded 1 crores and more than above that projects also. So outcome of this particular TBI scheme, that is Technology Business Incubator scheme, is we want to build innovation communities of entrepreneurs on campuses. We want to create jobs, business and revenue generation aligning with this national priorities, and promotion of new technology, knowledge, innovation-based startups, and catalyze translational research and fast-track commercialization of technologies developed by academia, R&D institutes, and individuals. And also to support deep tech startups through mentoring, legal, financial, technical, and intellectual property related services. Next. So these are the details. Actually, we have conducted a FinTech conclave on 15th of March, and our next cohort has been launched. So the eligible persons can apply to this particular scheme. Next scheme is for, this is for the chair professor positions. So this particular program, it provides supports and guidance in research from expertise in the domain of CPS, and it is basically for industry personnel, distinguished faculty in the positions for industry professionals which have extensive experience in the field of financial technologies, particularly with respect to entrepreneurship, startup, mentorship, emerging technologies, etc. So thematic areas are same. So that's why I'm not repeating all that thing. This is for the faculty fellowships. So faculty members can also get this particular faculty fellowships. Everything, it has been mentioned in the website. Just go through it. The jackpot for yourselves, that is UG, PG and PhD fellowships for the students who are sitting here. So undergraduate students, postgraduate students and PhD students can also get fellowships here. You will have your mentor, like your any professors. You can submit the proposal and under the guidance of him, he will be mentoring you, and under him, you will submit that proposal. You will get 6 months fellowship for UG, PG and PhD programs.
Postdoc नहीं है ना? Yeah. Then in a fellowship, who can apply the UG fellowship and PG fellowship? UG fellowship, like undergraduate student like BTech, all the technical students can apply the UG fellowships. Okay, and who can apply the UG fellowship? This is a full-time undergraduate students from engineering institutions or B schools under the mentorship of a faculty member of the corresponding institute, and the project plan should have been prepared in consultation with the mentor The project plan should be related to the IBITF's thematic areas like e-payment system, IoT, blockchain, etc., and other related areas. This is a maximum 12 months fellowships. First, you have to like applying for the 6 month. After this, we can extend your fellowship. Okay. The progress of the candidate will be reviewed by the committee members, and the continuation of the fellowship will be subject to the candidate's satisfactory performance. The fellowship amount, uh, uh, the the fellowship awarded by the 7500 rupees per month. Okay. And in the PG, like postgraduate MTech for the MTech student. This is also the full-time postgraduate students from engineering institutions or B schools under the mentorship of the faculty member of the corresponding institution, and the project plan should have been prepared in consultation with the mentor. The project plan must be within a IBADF thematic area. If selected, the applicant cannot avail of any other fellowship concurrently. The fellowship amount is 15,000 per month. Faculty fellowship. And we have the faculty fellowship is also who can apply in a faculty fellowship. Applicant is distinguished faculty in a reputed educational institute of higher learning with the relevant work experience aligned with the thematic areas of IBITF under the FinTech domain. If selected, the applicant cannot concurrently avail of any other fellowship. The amount of this fellowship, faculty fellowship, is 80,000. It is applicable for 3 years, but may be extended on the performance evaluation.
Another schemes are also there, that is EIR, that is Entrepreneur in Residence, then Prayas and Startup. This other 3 domains are there where you can submit the proposals. Faculty members can include their students also in this particular schemes. In EIR, PhD student can be enrolled, and they can submit the proposals. This is about the Prayas scheme. It is the promotion and acceleration of young and aspiring technology entrepreneurs. Objective of this particular Prayas scheme is to support semi-matured ideas for prototyping and facilitate industry mentorship for rapid production and commercialization of the ideas and prototypes. So, faculty member of any engineering students is eligible to apply. Startup company can also be applied, but they will be the co-PI and they will be the industry partner in this particular case. Initially, the project duration is funded is for 1 year and extendable up to 2 years, and initial grant is up to 10 lakhs of and maximum grant we give in this particular Prayas scheme is 45 lakhs for 2 years. So projects can have their industry collaborations also. Currently, we are executing total 10 startups in 10 Prayas proposals. They has been prototyped from different various institutes like NIT Warangal and IIIT Hyderabad and NIT Raipur, IIT Patna, and many more. Next, this is the particular information for startup. So this is for support for incubation. It means the startup has been already established and they want to get some more funding to establish. So in this startup proposal, we will give facilitate industry mentorship actually, and guide the startups to steer the ideas and prototypes towards product and commercialization. This particular proposal focuses on commercialization purpose actually. So it is for 1 year, and the grant is given by IBITF is of up to 5 lakhs, maximum 5 lakhs we can give. Yeah. Next is entrepreneur in residence. This proposal actually help and promote UG, PG and PhD graduates where the thesis, the MTech or PhD or UG students, they submit the thesis and they has the potentials for production and commercialization. If they are focused to plan a startup or something, if their thesis is in direction in line with the startup, in opening a startup and all this thing, then in this case, EIR scheme is helpful for you. In this particular scheme, the PI, the mentor of the project can be a faculty member, and UG, PG and PhD students can be the co-PIs under the particular faculty. So time duration of the particular project is initially for 1 year, extendable to 2 years. It is depends on the performance of the project. And maximum the fund we can give to this EIR scheme is up to 50 lakhs. And fellowship here, EIR, the PI of the EIR particular scheme, he can give the 30 to 50,000 of fellowship to the PhD candidate under him in this. And expected outcomes of this particular EIR scheme is to get the prototype developed, and the dissertation of the EIR will be completed in this. So these are the different types of schemes. Besides this, we have virtual incubation scheme also. This is for the startup incubators, which has been already incubated, and they want commercialization and deployment type of strategies or other supports. So these are the different types of schemes, and Google Forms are also attached. Just go through it, have a discussion with your friends and PI, your faculty members, and you can just submit the proposal. Just one page write-up can be also accepted. We will help you. We will help to how you can just formalize in a proper manner. Okay? Any questions if you want to ask?
For fellowship and other
any type
proposals?
Of schemes if you want.
Oh, then who will apply for the fellowship? Only 2 hands? No.
See, this is the particular thing. Fellowship is like you are just doing many more things in your 4-year course of BTech. So you can just pick a topic and discuss with your faculty member, and then you can just apply for this fellowship. It will help you for both the reasons. Okay.
Hello. A wonderful good afternoon to all of you. This is all about the call for proposals in what we are providing you. And the next is how to apply it. Okay. So in this call for proposal, you are seeing there at the right hand side, you are getting some buttons with green color. Is it it? So from proposal from faculty, the faculties can apply here. The faculties of an educational institute can apply here. And if you are facing any problem regarding this proposal submission, you can submit it on tih@iitbhilai.ac.in. This is our mail ID. You can submit directly on there. Okay. If you are facing any problem for submitting the proposal in that website, you can submit it there. Okay.
Only one page proposal. Okay. Your problem and what you thinking about the problem and what you have to do in for solving this problem. Okay. Just you have write only one page write up. Okay.
So for that, for example, you are UG, PG or PhD students. Yes. So you can go through here, open call for proposal for fellowship. Okay. So you can see here the detailed call for proposal what Pratibha ma'am has explained you. So next one is the endorsement letters template. So this will come after submitting your proposal. After you will submit that proposal and we will accept that proposal, then we will tell you that how to submit the endorsement letter. Okay. So this process is we can done later. But first we have to submit the proposal in your format, proper format, and if you are facing any problem while submitting this proposal in that format, you can submit it on tih@iitbili.ac.in.
You just
okay?
mail it.
And if you are having any idea about any project, any topic, you can just write it on one page and you can submit it. Okay? It is not a 3 days workshop. We will give you time, we will give you 6 months, we will give you 1 year. Okay? For thinking it, that how to submit your proposal. You don't think that you have only 3 days to submit the proposal. Okay? Just bring the ideas at one night and submit it on one page. We will give you time how to expand it in more than 3 days. Okay? So anybody is having any doubt? No doubt? You don't want to earn money?
Say yes.
See, we are not doing any business. Actually, our government is having lots of money and we are not using it. We don't know how to use it. So we are just here to explain you how to grab that money, how to grab that opportunity. What that NMI, CPS and DST is providing us. Okay? So grab that opportunity, come with your ideas and submit your ideas at tih@iitbili.ac.in. Okay? Fine. Should I close this?
Next.
No, link same link. Fico Moni. पहले जैसे किया था ना, प्लग करके वहाँ पे करो। गूगल मीट तुम कनेक्ट कर दो और जब कोई बात करेगा उसके जो मोबाइल बात करने से और ऑन ऑफ करना माइक।
Our today's next keynote speaker is Satyadev Ji. Satyadev holds a master degree in management from IIM Raipur and bachelor's degree in technology from NIT Raipur. He is well-rounded professional with a strong background in a product development and management, mentorship, and entrepreneurship. Satyadev is a seasoned product specialist with over a decade of experience in designing and developing technology products. He and scaling them up. In addition to his professional pursuits, Satyadev is an active technology speaker and mentor. He has helped bootstrap startups to create digital products for managing incubators. He also has experience as a startup founder. He will join at 3.
So actually, there was one other speaker who was probably going to join us today, but due to some emergency, from 2 to 3 p.m. he wasn't able to join, and the next session was planned from 3 p.m. onwards. So that's why we just need to wait a couple of more minutes for the next speaker to join us online. In the meanwhile, if you have any questions or queries, you could let us know. And you could think about the ideas as well. But basically, this entire mission is a great opportunity for educational institutions, students, faculty members to come up with ideas, to build your own startups, to build your own companies, and to test your ideas in the market. Government is providing the funding opportunity, and government is providing routing for you to test your ideas before you graduate. I'll just share one recent interaction with one of the students at IIT Bhilai. So this student was in the BTech course, CS department, and he recently graduated. Like, I think just 2 months back, he graduated from IIT Bhilai. Prior to that, he was working with one of the startup in the healthcare domain, which got funded by HDFC CSR grant. So they received a funding of 29 lakhs. They utilized just 2 or 3 lakhs out of the received funding. And they've also built a great technology-based solution, an actual eye care equipment that could be utilized by primary healthcare centers. Great. We have Dr. Satyadev Thakur joining us online. Dr. Satyadev, are you able to hear us?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Sure. So I'll not take any more time. We were just interacting with students meanwhile while you were joining. So please go ahead with your session, sir.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me into this session. And I'll try my best to share as much as experience and skills that I have gained in this industry with all the participants. Okay, so what I'll do is I have prepared a very small, you can say, uh, it's just a presentation, but these would be some talking points as well as some visualizations that would help me walk through the whole session. But I would request all the participants, if we can make it more interactive, I it would be better. I mean, if we get more and more questions, because that would enable better learning, as I believe. Okay. So just if anyone can confirm if they can see my presentation.
Yes, it's visible.
Visible?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, great. Okay, so what we'll do is this session basically for financial inclusion. Uh, uh, so first of all, we'll try to understand in terms of financial inclusion, what does it mean within India, right? And okay, let me take you back. So the whole idea is we ought to understand what is the role of fintech in financial inclusion within India. Okay, and it is one of the critical elements which I believe that this industry has played over this time. Uh, just a minute, I am facing some issues in terms of presentation. Just give me 1 second. I'll reshare and just confirm me.
That means we have started our.
Is it still visible?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. Yeah. So I was telling that the whole idea behind this session is how we ought to understand financial inclusion in terms of promoting economic growth and reducing poverty. And specifically in Indian context, we have seen that we have made decent progress in recent years in terms of i- including more portion of our population into the financial formal financial services. So within this session, we'll try to just understand in depth the emergence of financial technology service offerings and the companies, and what are their offerings or solutions that are addressing the core problem of our marginalized societies. And yeah, that's how we'll go through. The aim is to explore how fintechs can play a pivotal role in bridging the financial inclusion gap, and they can provide accessible and affordable financial services to marginalized communities. Okay. So what I have done is I have divided the session in certain, you can say, uh, sections. We'll go through each section, but it's not necessary that we have to follow this section in this order itself. So I would encourage people, like I said, if we get through during the discussion, if there are any questions, we can shift back and forth as we go along. So basically, with this session, I aim to empower the participants who are available with some of the knowledge and insights that I have gained over the course of time while building a fintech startup in India. And um, the whole idea is how do we understand this whole environment, and it is more around how I can inspire the individuals and the who are present to think and take some actionable steps as well, so that we can achieve financial inclusion for everyone in the future, right? So in the first section, what we'll understand is what is the definition, what is the significance of financial inclusion, what is the current state of financial inclusion in India. Just to, I mean, people might be knowing this, but just for everyone's sake, it would be better to kind of touch on the basics and some of the key challenges that our marginalized communities are facing, especially pertaining to financial access. Okay. Then in the second section, I intend to cover more around the introduction to fintechs. Uh, Again, fintechs can have different meaning for different people, but especially delve deep into what exactly would a fintech include, or what exactly a fintech organization uh, belongs to, and how they have evolved so far in India, and what are in which ways they are trying to disrupt our financial services market. And specifically, then we will focus on what are some of the fintech solutions that have come in recently. We'll try to touch upon some of the recent companies who have come across in this domain, especially around digital payments, mobile wallets, microfinance, lending platforms, right? So how are they helping out, especially our marginalized society, in building up more financial inclusive society? And then we'll move on to understand what are some of the impacts that they have created over this period of time, like increased access to credit and savings, enhanced financial literacy, empowerment, right? And towards the end, we'll close off with what are the key barrier and challenges that both our government as well as these companies face while expanding. And uh, we'll try to understand if there are any regulatory challenges or some technological barriers like digital literacy or some trust or cybersecurity related concerns, right? So we'll touch upon all these areas. Okay. So if anybody has any points to raise, I mean, if we are not covering any points that you want me to include, I think you can raise it now as well. Or otherwise, during the session, please feel free to ask questions. Okay, so moving on. Like I said, in order to understand this whole concept, we first need to break down our subject and we need to understand, first of all, what is financial inclusion. Okay, I'm just quoting one of the most, you can say, most read out quotes from RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, and it defines what financial inclusion is. I'll just read as is and give a bit of an explanation. So, financial inclusion is the process of ensuring access to appropriate financial products and services needed by the vulnerable groups, such as weaker sections and low income groups, at an affordable cost in a fair and transparent manner by the mainstream institutional players. Okay, so before I go forward or give my interpretation of this, if anyone can just tell me from the audience, like, what does financial inclusion mean to them? In very basic terms, maybe one or two lines. If anyone can just uh, tell me, what is your understanding basically of financial inclusion?
Anyone can give?
Anyone?
Please give one.
I hear something, but yeah. Okay.
Hello. Sir, I'm audible.
Yes, yes, you are audible. Thanks for the initiative, first of all. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you,
Please
thank
go ahead.
Sir, according to your slide, I have no idea before that. So I am explaining whatever on the slide. So financial inclusion is the process of ensuring access to appropriate financial product and service needed by the vulnerable group, such as a weaker section and low-income group, of at an affordable cost in fair and transparent manner by mainstream institutional players.
Mm-hmm. So what do you understand? Matlab, if you were to tell in one line, आपके हिसाब से what is financial institution? You can tell in Hindi also, you can tell in any other language also. एक line, what is financial institution as per you?
Yes, it's the process of ensuring access to approved financial product for service needed by a vulnerable group.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Thanks so much.
Thank you,
So, like you said, see, financial institution basically aims to offer primary financial products and services. When I say primary finance and products and services, it means like very basic services and products like banking, having a bank account, helping them create savings account or an FD or even something like that. Okay. So basically, financial inclusion aims to offer these primary financial products and services to all the individuals and businesses. Now, the need can be different for individuals and businesses. Okay, so individuals would be people like you and me, but from marginalized society, and probably somebody who doesn't have direct access to these services. And businesses would be somebody or people who have small shops, or they have some establishments from where they produce something and they sell some products or services. Okay, so the need for both individuals and these businesses might be different, but the aim or the objective of financial inclusion is the same, that they should have access, at least minimal access to these, some of the basic necessity, financial products and services. Okay, and then another goal is here to make it more accessible and affordable. So what does it means is that it should be accessible by everyone. Okay, within a specified geography, if we can say, or within a specific community, if we want to say, or within a specific group of people, if we want to say, right? So people from all of these areas or domains should have the accessibility to avail these financial services. Okay, and of course it should be very affordable. We know that there is a difference in service charges of many private as well as government institutions. Government institutions are for public welfare, so they might not charge too much. However, that's not the case again for private institutions. So overall, in terms of financial inclusion, what we are trying to say is that we need to provide basic products and services, access to these products and services to the people, as well as it should be affordable. Okay, and like I said, see, these products and services can include payment services, transaction related services, like credit services, savings, right, insurance. So these are some basic services that we aim to provide to our masses, right? And with the advent of new technological innovations, especially in the fintech domain, many organizations are now trying to offer cost-effective services to their customers, right? So we'll delve deep into this in the subsequent session and try to understand how some of these uh, fintech companies are trying to contribute in financial inclusion goals from for our country. Okay. Any doubts from anyone in financial inclusion? This is just one concept. I'm just trying to break down the whole idea or the whole topic into specific segments, and we'll stitch it together by end of this session. Okay, so I don't hear anything. I'll move on. But like I said, अगर आपको, if there are any doubts, please feel free to ask. We can discuss questions, we can discuss examples also. If you think that you find some relevant examples from startups, we can discuss that. Okay.
Any questions, student? No questions, sir.
Sure, sure. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Now, before we move forward, I want us to understand what where we are currently in terms of financial inclusion, specifically within India. Okay, we are all discussing our context within Indian geography only. So, yeah, and within India, again, there are separate sections, subsectors, geographical distribution, economic distribution. There can be many ways in which we can divide India, and we can look into each specific segment and we can think about where we are currently. Okay, so I've just posted some key highlights and I'll help you understand where we are in terms of current state in terms of financial inclusion, how our government sees where we are currently, and how do we measure our status for financial inclusion. Okay, so again, I'm quoting RBI's report where it says that in the recent past, India has made significant progress in expanding financial inclusion, okay, especially in the recent years. So this is all thanks to the various government initiatives and the policy measures that have been implemented over these years. So as per RBI, the Financial Inclusion Index, so we have a specific measure for financial inclusion, FII, okay, Financial Inclusion Index, that is measured every year by our government agency. ठीक? And for the last year that ended in 2022, it stood at 56.4%. Okay? And this is up from 53.9 that was in the year before. Okay. So basically I mean, it's, if I were to explain you what is FII, in simple terms, like I said, it's just a measure of where we are in terms of financial inclusion. And basically it measures the financial inclusion through three different dimensions. Okay. One is access to capital, second is usage, and third is equality. Okay. So we'll study all of these three parameters in details in the later half of the session, but just to let you know, so this is how we measure FII. And what this means is from 53 to 56 we are moving, or you can say 54 to 56.5, close to that. So this means that India has made progress in terms of increasing access to financial services. Okay. But as we can see, we are still around the mid numbers. So there is still a lot of room for improvement where we can improve the inclusiveness of all our communities. Okay. And but this also tells us that the improvement in FII is due to many factors. At a country level, if you were to understand, if we are improving financial inclusion, there are various factors that are contributing to it. And one of the key, you can say, factor is the initiatives that have been drawn by our government, which includes Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, and which actually enabled people to open bank accounts for millions of Indians, okay, across the country. And then we had Digital India initiative, which has made people, which has made it easier for people to actually access financial services easily online, right? And then of course there are various other uh, you can say schemes and initiatives that have been run over the period of time in the last 10 to 15 years, which have even improved the financial inclusion within the country. One of them, of course, is the integration of Aadhaar, which is India's biometric identification system, with financial services. And that has facilitated one of the most important schemes of direct benefit transfer, which reduces leakage and ensures that government subsidies and, you can say, social welfare benefits reach directly to the intended beneficiaries, right? So this was one of the key problems earlier that we faced maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the line. And with the integration of Aadhaar now with financial services, it has made possible that the beneficiaries can have direct benefit transfer, right, from different agencies, be it gas subsidies, be it healthcare related subsidies, or anything. So everything directly reaches to the bank account of the beneficiary without involvement of any intermediaries, right? And this has also, I mean, this is also partly driven by microfinance institutes. So like there have been advent of small and micros, you can say small loans and individual and micro entrepreneurs, which for which we have been able to provide them credit, small credits to run their businesses. Like I was telling you earlier, there are two different set of people. One is the individual people, the aam admi or the masses of the people, and then there are individual businesses or small businesses, especially run by these people, right? So the financial inclusion for both of these are a bit different, and overall, but the goal remains the same. And in order to cater to the needs of these businesses, we have microfinance and self-help groups that have come up over the period of time recently, and they help raise small loans or instant access to some credit, which can help enable entrepreneurs from these groups to run their businesses effectively. Okay. So yeah, this is where we are in terms of financial inclusion currently. I would say in India at 2023. Okay. Moving forward, before closing on to the financial inclusion piece and before moving to the fintech piece, I would like you to understand what are some of the key challenges that are faced by our people. Okay. And as you can see, I have made it in box format. These are like key high level challenges you can particularly relate to as well in some of them. So there are so one of the challenges is lack of awareness about these financial services. So most of the people in these communities, they are not even aware that something like this is existing, and some of these policies are run by the government, and how can they avail benefit around it, right? So as I said, many people in India are not aware of these benefits of having maybe a bank account or having a particular financial product like insurance. So that is one of the key challenges. Again, another would be like high cost of financial services and the fee in charge by the bank or the institutions, right? So these create a barrier for especially low income people. And the government, along with other stakeholders, is now working to address these challenges and improve the financial inclusion in India. So we'll study this slide in two different parts. First, we'll delve deep into the challenges, and then we'll study like how we are trying to move ahead of these challenges. Okay. With support, like I said, from government as well as private institutions and organizations and NGOs as well. So when I say lack of awareness is one of the challenge, it means like you you might have heard or understood that many marginalized communities are not even aware of these benefits of financial services and how to even avail these services, right? So this is where I would say they have lack of awareness around what exactly is these services or products and how they can benefit from this. Then we have seen that in the past there is some discrimination as well that people may face from different institutions, or sometimes it becomes very difficult for people from these communities to even open up bank accounts, which can be due to not having the right documentation or something like that, right? So ultimately, it kind it, it is kind of a discrimination that exists or that existed before, and now we are moving forward towards alleviating those problems and kind of coming out of it. Then high cost. So even for organization and governments, organizations, it sometimes is very difficult to kind of provide the services at a very low cost, especially for low income group people. And that's where there are some challenges around this currently. And another reason would be like limited access to services, and that can be because the financial institutions may be located far away from this group of people, which makes it difficult for them to access these services. So the penetration of you can say our banks and the financial institutions uh, across India has been good over the years. Especially the growth has been quite good in the recent years. But prior to that, the you might have noticed earlier as well, the banks were in scarcity, and getting a loan or financial product was also quite difficult. Now, with the advent of new technologies, new players, it has become more easier for people to avail these products and services. Then documentation, as I said, can be an issue. Uh, Getting the right documentation for the institutions to process, such as proof of address and ID, these are always a challenge, especially for people from the marginalized community. And that's where we have this issue. Literacy obviously can make a lot of, you can say, impact. So lack of financial literacy, and literacy not just in terms of, you can say, being able to read through, but when I say literacy, it is more about financial literacy, trying to understand how to open a bank account, how to save the money, right? How to invest, how to, why to buy the insurance, right? So those kind of things. And especially then there are trust concerns. So what has happened in the past is many people or companies or organization have took some undue advantage, and they have taken, I mean, money from these people, and these people might not have got the expected return out of it, or they might not have got the product or services for which they paid, right? So there exists a lack of trust between people and these financial institutions, right? And again, this can happen, and I think the organizations, government organizations, are taking stringent steps nowadays with different organizations and communities to ensure that people don't fall into such, you can say, scams or issues where they probably don't get the benefit. Okay, so as we can see, these are like some of the high level challenges that our communities are facing around financial inclusion. But we have taken a lot of steps. When I say we, in terms of the companies and the institutions and their organizations, right? So we are working towards providing financial education to these societies. So this has been done through various modes and means. There are financial campaigns, advertisements in the paper, in the TV, television ads, right? These are being shown constantly to the people. So so as to ensure wider reach, right? Then encouragement to offer some certain essential products and services, financial products and services like insurance, right? So those have been encouraged. Investment into mutual funds. You might have seen many of these advertisement in television, especially uh, during the prime hours, right? So government is taking a conscious step and promoting these so that people understand the value and avail these services, right? And get the benefit as well. And reducing the cost of financial services, this has always been a key area. And for some of these, government has taken proactive initiatives where they are providing subsidies, or at a marginal rate, they are providing these services, right? And uh, making financial institutions more accessible, like waiving some document requirements, providing, like if people do not have the literacy level, right? So providing basic services around it, right? And as well as building trust. So this can be done through various ways, and our organization is taking various steps to, when I say organization, our government organizations as well as private entities are taking various steps to help resolve these issues so that the aim of financial institution can be achieved, as well as it imparts growth to the people, to the country, as well as these individuals who are working towards it. Okay. So any doubts from anyone in these two sections? First was the current state of financial inclusion, or and then we studied the key challenges and resolution. Anyone has any doubts, or if you want to share any points around it?
Any doubts? No, sir.
Okay. Now we move on to the next section of our session. That is, we'll study more about fintechs. Okay. What are fintechs basically? What do they do? Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how are they helping the government organizations to achieve their goals around financial inclusion? So all this we will delve deep in this session, in this section, and yeah, we'll try to understand. We'll take example of few maybe startups or companies what they are doing and how they are doing these kind of things. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let me first make you understand what exactly is fintech. Okay. So when I say fintech, basically it's an amalgamation of two words, that is financial as well as technology. Okay. And it can be broadly defined as, you can say, a technology enabled financial innovation, which can result in maybe new business models or processes or products which has impact on financial markets, institutions, or in the provision of financial services. Okay. So in short, a fintech, when we say a fintech, it can be an organization or it can be an institution which is leveraging technology to solve financial problems, basic financial problems. Okay. So recently, what we have noticed is in India during the past decade, there have been lot many institutions that have shown interest, and they have come up with such unique offerings, right? Leveraging different kinds of new age technologies, AI, ML, which has recently come in. Before that, big data. Before that, blockchain, right? So using these technologies, our companies and organizations uh, have come up with unique ways in which they can solve our very basic problems around financial inclusion. Okay. They have come up with unique products and financial products and services which actually innovate the whole process. Or they cut down on the, you can say, the time taken or the duration or the hassle to avail these services, and they're trying to simplify the whole process. Okay. And in this process, I would say, in this whole scenario, they are essentially reshaping the whole way in which the financial services market is working currently, including banks and NBFCs, any other financial institution that included. Okay. So they are this also is helping them increase the competition and in this industry, and this actually plays an important role in accelerating financial inclusion in India. And this in turn is reducing the cost and improving the access of financial services to the underserved people, especially people in low income groups, rural and underserved sections of the Indian economy. So, as per an estimate, I read it some time back in the newspaper. 90% of our micro units in India, when I say micro units, I mean MSMEs, SMEs, right? Businesses, are still outside the formal credit system. So, what this means is that within a formal system of financial inclusion or financial, you can say, credit service, more than 90% of the people have not been able to take this benefit. Only 10% are taking or availing these services directly from different channels that have been set out. However, 90% of these are still outside the ambit. And that's where I think this segment, along with small enterprises, can benefit immensely from collaboration between banks and these fintech players that are coming up or emerging recently. Okay. With and this would help actually uh, in terms of, you can say, in terms of growing the, yes, in the recent spate, I mean, you can, if you might have noticed or if you might have read through the news articles, so it is noteworthy that a number of fintech players have witnessed strong growth, especially in the past few years. And after COVID, I would say, if you, because there was a cash crunch in the economy, and during that phase after 2020, I would say that these fintech players have witnessed a very strong growth, and many have cropped up. Especially many companies have come up providing such unique solutions, right? And right now, if you were to go by estimates, there are more than 1,200 entities, fintech companies that are operating within India, right? And close to 70% have been in business in the past just 5 to 6 years, right? So that's the, you can say, that's the picture of the fintech landscape currently in India. And this is the role that these fintechs play. Okay. If anyone from the audience can just tell me what did they understand from fintech, I would be sure that you have understood. Otherwise, I'll just maybe take 2 or 5 minutes more to explain what exactly is fintech. Anyone, just tell me your understanding. What is a fintech? Okay, I don't hear anyone. So, okay, I'll just take maybe 1 more minute and I'll try to explain you in very simple terms. Try to think of fintech as a organization or an institute or a small company which is trying to solve basic problems around financial inclusion, or even just basic financial problems for the marginalized as well as general public, right? By leveraging some innovative ways or new technologies, right? Be it opening a bank account, be it suggesting investment advice, be it providing healthcare or coverage to insurance, right? So any kind of these financial related services or products. So solving those complex problems through an innovative and technological way is what these fintechs do. Okay. I hope I'm able to explain you in very basic terms, because going forward, we'll take this a notch higher and we'll discuss in detail what fintechs do and how does it impact financial inclusion. Okay. Okay. So moving on. So we now what we have understood is we have seen what are fintechs. Okay. We have understood what is financial inclusion. We have understood what are the challenges for financial inclusion. Let's try to understand how these fintechs have grown. What is the journey? How fintechs have evolved in India? Okay. And for that, what I have done is in the left image, if you can see, I have given I have divided the last decade into 2 time frames. Okay. One from 2014 to 2018 and one post 2018. Don't limit it to 2020. I would say we can limit it to 2022 or 2023 even. Okay. And this, of course, I have taken it from one of the, you can say, reports that I was reading through earlier. And I believe this accurately captures the whole journey that the fintech organizations have gone through within India. Okay. So in the first time frame, that is the first wave that I'm calling here of 5 years time frame. So this is where the fintechs actually got started. Okay. So around 2012, 2013, that's where we had a very conducive environment for companies to grow. And that's where this advent of new fintech started to come in, right? So the objective around that time for these fintechs were to basically be an alternative to banks and the services and the NBFCs that they provide, right? They wanted to kind of enter into the market, disrupt that whole existing market, right? And they wanted to bring some tech-driven innovations or businesses. Okay. Earlier, it was more like product focused or it was user focused, but again, that might not have solved the challenges of end user. So they were trying to bridge this gap by bringing in technology, innovative ways in which they can solve these problems, right? And they were focusing on many segments. So like I said, there are many segments. So individuals can be segregated into different groups, geography wise, community wise, income group wise, right? So similarly, businesses, small scale businesses, medium scale, large scale businesses, right? Corporates. So these fintechs were focusing on these different segments, and their specific target was to kind of serve to the financially unserved, right? And they were targeting to address a specific percentage of population of these public. However, in this time frame, the fintechs got, you can say, matured enough, and during the second phase or the time frame or the second wave, their focus started to shift on creating more value, right? Becoming more cost efficient, becoming more sustainable, right? Creating an ecosystem where they can contribute in a more valuable format, right? So this is where in the recent past the fintechs have grown, and their focus has been to get more into depth and providing these services in a more, I would say, accessible as well as cost effective way, right? And during this phase, now in the right hand side, you can see I have depicted a specific small image. So during this second phase, they have different go-to markets strategies, right? For the urban population as well as for the rural population. So, and specifically within these two segments also, they are still targeting the marginalized society, right? People who need financial inclusion. So in the urban sector, you can see these can be migrant laborers, or these can be domestic helps, right? Small entrepreneurs who have very small shops, right? Or some micro establishments as well. Similarly, if you go into the rural segment, you will see there are agripreneurs, I would say, women's self-help groups, right, who have their own small products or who have certain offerings, they provide certain services. Then there are agri-based MSMEs, right? Small time against and entrepreneurs who have who need very basic access to capital just to run their day-to-day businesses, right? So you can see that you can see these parallels that these fintechs are trying to draw between different segments, although targeting the same goal of financial inclusion. Okay. So this has been the journey so far. This is how the fintechs have been operating over the past decade, and these are the target audience, I would say, that they have been targeting over this time frame. Okay, now we'll delve deep into what are some of the solutions that these fintech players have brought into the market, right? First, we'll study these solutions and then we'll try to assess how these solutions are actually, you can say, how these solutions are actually helping solve the problem of financial inclusion. Okay. So what these fintech solutions or the innovative ways in which these problems have been solved through fintechs, uh, one of the key parameter was around solving this problem was how can we have more and more inclusion of people, right? People who don't have bank accounts, or people who don't want to deal with bank accounts, or people who have bank accounts but they don't use even these basic services, right? So what fintech companies have done is they are trying to leverage technology to bridge the gap, right? And they are trying to bring in alternatives to digital technology. See, people around these sections and communities might not be digitally literate. So they are trying to bring in more solutions to which are offline, not everything is online, right? They are trying to take innovative ways to reach out to these people to pass on the message, right? So they have like financial summits or pakwadas, I would say, within the rural areas, right? Where they have some physical sessions where they try to educate and empower these people, provide them with basic literacy, right? And help them understand the importance of availing these products and its benefits, right? So this is one of the problems or that they are trying to solve using the technology, right? And second problem would be how they can ease the access, right? So uh, although they have mobile phones and platforms, websites, everything is there, but ease of access can be enabled through even offline payments. So you can take an example of UPI, which was introduced in 2016 around that time frame. So recently, in the past 7 to 8 years, it has caught on, and now, if you know, there are various versions also launched, like UPI Lite, UPI offline. Right? People can just send message, and through a message they can transfer the amount. So there are various initiatives for especially people around these communities who have less information or less access to digital tools and technologies. So these fintech companies are going local. These companies are going in broad, right? And they are providing these solutions at the doorstep so that people can avail these services without any hesitation. Okay. Then we have the digital payment solution resolution, right? Revolution, sorry. So, like I was giving you example, UPI is one such example. Similar to that, we have various other platforms that have been created, Aadhaar linked to financial uh, direct benefit transfer, right? So there have been very, you can say, too many initiatives that have been taken up both by the government as well as these fintech institutions to take benefit from these infrastructure, digital infrastructures that have been created, right? So UPI runs on NPCL's platform, right? There is ONDC that is coming up now, right? Just to solve the problem of ordering. Right? It would be a e-commerce for all, you can say. You don't have to depend on one platform. So similar to that, there are various products and platforms, and again targeted more towards the rural people. So and to the marginalized society as well, that that is trying to solve these day-to-day problems around financial education, literacy, inclusion, right? Then one of the biggest challenges that individuals as well as institutions face from these areas is access to credit, right? And access to credit is because they don't get the loans or credit very easily. And one of the key parameters is the credibility. How can you ascertain the credibility of these people or their businesses, right? So they cannot rely on the traditional credit score model, right? Credit score can only be generated if they have prior loan or history of paying these loans on time, right? But again, to avail that for the first time, it is very difficult for these people even to get these services. So these companies or fintech organizations, what they have come up is they are trying to use innovative models or innovative ways in which they can ascertain the credibility of these individuals. They use alternate data that is available, right? And be it social media activity or online purchase behavior, whatever is available for these people, they are trying to leverage those data points and come up with some credit scores which they can help to disburse funds. Okay. So this is again one of the fastest growing segments, and I would say even my startup that I am working on also deals with, which is a fintech startup, also deals and solves problem in this domain. That is, how do we ascertain for a small business, right, who doesn't even have a PAN card maybe, or who doesn't file income tax return, right? So there are still like 85% of these businesses in India who don't file their returns, right? And they might not have even PAN card or any other formal documentation. So this is where we are also trying to solve this problem. How can we come up with ways in which we can collect some alternative data and ascertain that how much credit we can lend them, leveraging maybe AI technology and some machine learning models to create those kind of suggestions, right? So, similarly, there are many other companies who are already doing this in different segments, in different ways. So, this is one of the fastest growing sector, and that's where fintechs have been contributing very actively. And then to one of the other solutions that fintechs offer is like customized finance solutions, right? So the traditional way which the urban population enjoy the products and services might not work for the rural and the marginalized society. So this needs to be customized to the needs of these people, right? So you can imagine if there is an agripreneur, right? They might need instant access to funds during the sowing season, right? And they might be able to pay it back once the crop comes out, right? So, and then in between they might need access to funds for different purposes, right? So understanding the different audiences that comprise of these within these marginalized society and catering to their specific needs by providing a customized solution is very essential. And some of these fintechs have started getting into this space. They are bringing in services like as you can imagine, these are low income group people, and they might not have ready access to capital, so they are bringing in schemes or products which cater to their needs, like you have to pay 1 rupees per day for insurance, something like this, right? Or it can be you can avail lending in break in different parts. If you want 1 lakh down first, they can give you 10 or 15,000. They can then ascertain it has been utilized properly, then they disburse you the next set of payment amount, right? So there are various ways in which companies are fintech, especially fintech companies, are coming up, and they're providing very customized solutions. Okay. So what we can understand from this is that fintech companies are now trying to play a major role, right? And they are trying to drive financial inclusion through these innovative solutions. These are like 5 different solutions that I could think of at a very high level. There are many other ways in which fintechs are contributing to it, but these are like 5 major categories of these. And as you can see, that these innovative approaches and technological advancement that has come in over the period of time in this past decade, these are actually helping these companies to disrupt the existing status quo that existed between the banks and the traditional NBFCs, right? And now these fintechs are taking up the center stage. They are contributing majorly to the growth of the economy as well as to the growth of its people. Okay. So moving on now, uh, before we move ahead, I mean, I just want to uh, recap a couple of things. So we understood in first section what is financial inclusion, what are the key elements of financial inclusion, where we are in India in terms of financial inclusion for marginalized society. Then in the second section, we started understanding the concept of fintech, right? What are these fintechs? How are they growing over a period of time, right? What is their contribution, right? And then what kind of solutions they are bringing into the market to solve the problem of financial inclusion. Okay. Now, in this slide, what we'll study is try to study the exact role that these fintechs are playing for financial inclusion. So previously, what we studied was the solutions that they bring into the market, but how does these solutions solve the problem of financial inclusion, right? That's what we will study into this slide. So you might recall early in the session, I had told you FII index, right? So FII index was like, in basic terms, I told you during that this is just a financial inclusion index, and that comprises of 3 parameters, right? So these 3 parameters were access to financial services, usage of financial services, and quality of services offered. So we'll study them here in deep, and we'll try to ascertain how these fintechs are contributing to these dimensions. Okay. So let's first understand what is access of financial services. So as you can understand from the basic terminology, so access refers to basically people having availability of formal financial services. This can be both through individual or businesses in a particular group or a region. Okay. And like I said, this dimension basically assesses the physical and geographical presence of financial institutions. Okay, so what this means is that in India specifically, expanding access to financial services has been like one of the key focus areas for our initiatives, right? And some of these initiatives, like I mentioned earlier, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, Digital India, right? These aim to ensure that every household has access to uh, at least a simple bank account. That's the starting point, right? So that's where you have access to a financial service, right? Now, the second portion comes around usage of financial services. Now, one dimension has been covered, that the people have access to these financial products, basic financial products. Now, how can we encourage usage? And here, the usage refers to, you can say, the extent to which these people or the businesses utilize the financial services for their benefit. It can be for transaction, it can be for lending, it can be for loans, credit, anything, insurance, right? So usage can be in terms of these transactions and activities which are being carried out by these individuals and businesses. Okay. And this dimension of usage, basically it is trying to evaluate how effectively individuals and businesses are utilizing these services. Okay. And in India, again, uh, fintechs are encouraging the use of these financial services by, and they are trying to play a crucial role in promoting financial inclusion. Okay. So I'll give you an example. Right? Recently, you might have noticed that there is a very steep increase in the adoption of digital payment methods, even in tier 2, tier 3 cities. Everyone now has a QR card for payment, right? People don't transfer nowadays by going to a bank, right? So this digital payment adoption, which has been a priority for these fintechs, have ultimately led to initiatives like UPI, and you can say that has played a very digital role in promoting cashless transactions, especially within these geographies and for these specific groups. Okay. So that's how this usage piece comes into picture, the second dimension. And then the third dimension, the quality of these services being offered, right? So the fintechs need to ensure that they provide the affordable solutions, right? And these are suitable or customized products which meet the need of the individuals and businesses. Okay.
Hello? Hello?
The range of products that are offered, right? And the level of customization and support that is provided to these financial institutions, right? So that's where we can see that fintechs are kind of accelerating the growth of financial literacy and financial usage by providing the top notch quality services, right? So you might have seen examples. Let me take some examples of certain startups as well. So you might have heard about Rupeek, right? Rupeek is one of the recently famous fintechs in India that has been kind of solving the problem of credit crunch, right? And it is helping people get greater access to credit by providing gold loans, right? Or by providing loans based on, uh, you can say, different facets, wherever they find, you can say, wherever they can find certain elements on which they can ascertain the credit worthiness of an individual. So they are trying to make it easy for uh, the people to take loans, right? And they can avail these facilities without any, I mean, without any much paperwork, without any much documentation, by just sitting in their home and not even visiting the branch, right? So this is one such startup which has taken up, you can say, the role of fintech startup that is contributing effectively on providing credit to the societies, right? And similarly, there are many other startups in this domain who have contributed a lot, right? And uh, just to name a few, Credit B is one such startup, right, which is working actively and providing a boost. So similarly, on business side as well, there are different companies that have started, fintech companies that have started to contribute, and they are bringing in products which have embedded credit or digital payments or even neo banking, especially for the new generation that are coming in, right? So they are providing prepaid cards, mobile wallets, right? These are the different kinds of services that these companies are providing, and that is contributing effectively into providing financial inclusion for this uh, group of people. Up until this point, anyone has any doubt, any questions, or you want to even share an example of anything that you can relate to? This is all what we have studied so far. Fintech. What is fintech? How the
Sir,
fintechs have evolved?
hello. Hello.
Yes, yes,
Sir,
I
one
hear them.
student want
Yes.
to ask you something. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Sir, as we know, fintech has many roles, but as I'm agriculture background, so it's more about agri-tech. So, would you tell us more about agri-tech?
Uh, Sorry, can you repeat the last part? I didn't hear it quite clearly.
Like, as I'm from agriculture background, can you tell me more about
Uh-huh.
agri-tech?
Agri-tech, right?
Yeah.
Right, right. See, agri-tech is more around, you can say, problem solving innovative problems using technology in the domain of agriculture, right? And this can include both financial as well as non-financial solutions. So, in recent past, there have been many companies, and even the big companies like ITC, Tata, they are coming with many, you can say, innovative ways to reach out to the people based in these sectors, and they are providing either access to easy access to capital through channel financing, okay, or through various different ways, they different schemes that they have introduced, even the banks and these fintech startups, right? So what they are doing is they are coming up with ways in which they can understand your problems right from the moment. Like, if you are a, let's suppose, let's take the profile of a farmer, okay? Yeah, it can be a commercial farmer, I mean, they are producing some commercial crops. So right from the moment of procuring the items for agriculture, getting the seeds, getting the pesticides, getting them the necessary tools, right? So there are different offerings that companies have come up with, and they are trying to solve this problem through maybe providing easy access to the these tools and technologies, so that agriculturists can avail the benefit with minimal cost, right? They are coming up with lending ways, like they can also lend you amount in advance, right? So that you can procure these items from them. They are trying to create literacy amongst these people, right? So up until now, it was being done through maybe newspapers or traditional communication channels like television or radio. But now they are coming up with innovative ways. They are utilizing platforms like WhatsApp, or even basic SMS services to provide predictions, right? That there might be a rain, or then there might be a insect attack, something like that recently happened as well, right? So there are multiple ways in which many of these startup companies are trying to solve these problems and challenges, be it procurement of these grown items to selling them at the right place without any intermediaries, right? So packaging, transportation, logistics. There are so many areas in which now startups have come up and they're trying to contribute to build that infrastructure, agri-based infrastructure, right? So not just for farmers, but also for agri-based industries, how they can utilize the inputs from these, you can say, from the output, agricultural outputs, right? And then particularly focusing on the fintechs, so they are focusing more around, you can say, nowadays we have crop insurance, like, right? We have term loans that are being provided at very low cost with minimal documentation, right? In coordination with many of these societies and agriculture groups. So what we can know, what we can see here is there are multiple ways in which these organizations and fintechs are contributing. Okay, and especially ag- India being a agri-driven economy, more than, I would say, 70% of the workforce currently relies on this traditional channel, right? So up until this point, there has been a bit of less focus, and the main advent of technology was on coming up with tools and processes to optimize a lot of these things, right? Now people are expanding their horizon, and there have been many instances of startups and companies that are focusing especially on agri-tech. Okay, so hopefully I was able to answer you how these companies are contributing to agri-tech, right? Okay, so I'll move on to the next one, and this is the last part. I believe we are also running out of time, so might be I'll just take it a bit quickly, but feel free to ask me anything if you are not understanding. Okay, so what will what is the benefit basically out of this, right? What impact, just try to question yourself, what can be the impact that these fintechs are trying to create